I will never, ever forget this happened to me. We were in a team meeting. I was sitting next to one of my coworkers. All of a sudden, he says, "Your daughter's going to get pregnant at 17." Huh? Talk about taken aback. Where did that come from? We talking about our children now in a crazy way? What? Who says that about someone's children? Who says that? Why would you say that? When I say I was taken aback, honey, I wanted to jump over that table and punch him in his face. One thing, one thing I do not play about is my daughter. I don't play about my daughter in no way, shape, or form. Don't ever come out your face and say no crazy stuff about her. Don't ever come out of pocket and do nothing crazy to her because you have me to deal with. At the time, I looked at him like, I don't, but what, where, what are you talking about? Why would you say that? And I remember saying that to him. The people in the room, they, they just giggled it off. Wasn't none funny about that? Would it be funny if he said that about your child, or if anyone else said that about your children? Ain't nothing funny. There's nothing funny about that. I believe they were taken aback as well because we had never. You don't joke about people's children, and I could feel all the eyes on me. Like, what is she going to do? Is she going to do anything? Is she going to say anything crazy? Mind you, this is a corporate setting. At that time, I worked at a major corporate job for a major corporate company, rather. And so I had to, at least I thought to, well, probably, yeah, I had to act a certain way. Most of y'all probably know about code switching. Had to do that on a day-to-day basis. Looking back at it, I should have reported him to human resources, but I didn't. I didn't know any better, and no, nobody said to me, "You should report him to human resources." Nobody said that. If it were today, yes, I will report his behind to human resources and get him fired because he deserved that. Talk about a major boundary. My daughter is a major boundary. Don't mess with my daughter on. Don't do that. Major boundary. And so this happened. It had to be about. I've been going from the job for 5 years now. Maybe 8 years or so ago that happened. I felt like that was the most racist, the most derogatory, the most disgusting thing someone has ever said to me at work. I had never had anyone say anything remotely crazy like that at any job that I've ever had. Yeah, okay, so Now that we got that out the way, let's go ahead and start from the beginning. We're going to talk about setting boundaries at work. I got a couple of more stories for y'all too. Not as crazy as that one, but they are about setting boundaries at work and a couple of things that I had to deal with during my stint in corporate America. If you clicked on this video, you probably have no boundaries at work, or you need to learn how to set some boundaries at work. I got you. That's why I created this video, because I know it can be very difficult to set boundaries at work without feeling guilty. We always kind of feel guilty when we set boundaries at work, but not no more. Not no more. We're going to, I'm going to share some tips with you to help you overcome that and no longer feel guilty about setting boundaries. Now, you're going to see me look over here because I took a lot of the notes on this and I have my computer. Let me give you a little background as to where I'm coming from with this. I'm 49. I'll be 50 this year. I worked in corporate America for 20 years. I did not like, I did not love my jobs. I tolerated them. And I tolerated them for a few reasons. I got really comfortable and complacent at that company. The money was decent, the benefits were great. I was a single mother taking care of my daughter, so I got stuck there, so to speak, and that was totally my fault. I did do some college. College just is not my thing. I did college while I was working, and prior to me working in corporate, I got a few certifications. Um, I kind of did a variety of things. I was a hairstylist, which I loved, but I didn't stay in that because um, I felt like I wanted to do more computer work. And so there I landed in corporate and spent 20 years of my life there. I did get a lot of, I learned a lot by working there. I learned a lot about people. I learned about myself, what I liked, what I don't like, what I am willing to tolerate, what I am not willing to tolerate, and a lot more things. So it wasn't a complete waste of time. It just, it was what it was. You know what I mean? It was a learning experience. I met a lot of great people, a few people I am still friends with, some acquaintances. Uh, and so it was overall a decent experience. So that's where I am with that. Um, Over those years, my boundaries were very slim. They were very slim. I had to work up to learning how to create boundaries as time went on and as I matured and learned more about myself. I know you may feel like work is ruining your life. At one point, it was ruining my life. Um, you're constantly saying yes when you really mean no. Sometimes you feel like you have to do that to climb the ladder, so to speak, or to not rock the boat. You may feel like you have to do what you have to do to survive and put food on your table. You might be entering emails at midnight sharp. I had a supervisor that actually did that. I remember getting emails from her at 1 o'clock in the morning. I would come into work, check my email, just say 1 o'clock in the morning when she sent emails. Like, your girl, I ain't do that. I had to cut off work at a certain time. I had my daughter to take care of by myself. But some people feel like they have to do that, so they do. That's what they do. You may be taking on things that don't belong to you or feeling completely drained at the end of the day. If that's you, stick with me because I got a lot of tips to share. Some people work 8 to 10 hours a day. Mind you, that's not even including when they go home and do work just to keep up with, their workload. That's a lot of your life you're spending at work. Even though you may be home, you're still at work, right? Think about how much time that is. There's 24 hours in a day. You spending 10 of it, we'll say 8 of it, 8 of the hours at work. Your commute time to and from, let's say 2 hours a day. That's a lot of time. Then you might get about 7 hours of sleep. You got a couple of hours to deal with the family, clean, cook, prepare for the next day. How much of that do you have for yourself? Probably not even an hour. And then like, there's no time for yourself. When are you going to make time for yourself? And it's like you're on a hamster wheel because you do the same thing day in and day out. And then you got to thank God it's Friday. You got Saturday, which is probably dealing with the kids and cleaning up. And then you got Sunday. You might go out and do a little something to, maybe have fun. But you're also trying to decompress and prepare for Monday. So let's ask this question. Why do we struggle with boundaries in the first place? Well, for most of us, it's because we're afraid of seeming uncooperative, missing out on promotions or opportunities, conflict with our boss or coworkers. But here's the truth. When you don't set boundaries, you're actually making it harder to be successful at work. Because a lack of boundaries leads to burnout, resentment, and less productivity. You can't give your best when you're running on empty. I experienced the burnout so much at that job. I mean, it could be awful at times. And when I did experience it, I would have to take a day off and sleep a majority of the day and just decompress. And so I know that we don't want to seem difficult, right? And honestly, some of us are people pleasers. I was a huge people pleaser back then, so I totally understand it. But here's a mind shift for you. Every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're saying no to yourself. Now, I'm not saying go ahead and reject every request. That's not realistic. But I am saying that you should protect your peace and protect your energy. So, here's some ways to say no professionally and confidently. I'd love to help, but I'm currently at capacity. That sounds important, but I need to focus on my current tasks. I appreciate you thinking of me, but I can't take this on right now. And don't be ashamed to say that. And I think that when you speak up for yourself, you'll get more respect from your coworkers and your superiors. And see, there's no drama with that, no excuses, just clear and respectful communication, right? Now, what about your boss? I know it feels impossible to set boundaries with the person in charge, right? But here's something to remember: boundaries aren't being disrespectful. They're not about being disrespectful, they're about to being clear. Let's say your boss emails you after hours. Instead of responding immediately, try this. Set your expectations early, right? I'm available from 9 to 5 p.m. Outside of that, I focus on recharging so I can bring my best to work. If you're overloaded, this is what you would say. Seemingly, I'd love to help, but taking on this extra task will affect the quality of my current projects. Would you like me to prioritize this? This way you're showing professionalism and protecting your time. Let's talk about how to handle difficult coworkers who don't respect your time. Story time. Oh my goodness, child. This is kind of funny, but and it's only funny now because this happened 25 years ago. I was a temp before I started working at in corporate. Being a temp, that's how I got hired through a temp agency. So there was a few other folks there that started as temps as well. Well, this one girl, she kind of latched on to me. We became friends, and she was a chatty patty, honey. I've never been a chatty patty. And back then I was super quiet and wanted to get hired full time at that time. So she would come over to my desk and be just a chit chatting. It wasn't even like during lunchtime or during breaks. I guess when she didn't have anything to do, she would just come over to my desk and start talking about random stuff, whatever. And after a while, it made me uncomfortable because common sense tells me you can't just be up roaming about having mad conversations with your friend because you ain't got nothing to do. We're at work. We're here to work. We can have chatty patty like at lunchtime or something. Girl, why you keep coming over here talking like that? And so I didn't have it in me back then to tell her that in a nice way. I just didn't have it in me like that. I was one that didn't like conflict, and I didn't like to hurt people's feelings. So I didn't say anything to her. Well, eventually, she didn't get hired. I did, and they actually let her go because they noticed that she was always at my desk, um, chit chatting. And so this had gone on. She was doing this for months, at least 2.5 months. And well, I wouldn't label her as a difficult coworker, but an annoying coworker. And of course, now I would, of course, know how to handle that. I would pull her to the side and tell her, we can't be talking like this. Let's wait until lunchtime to chat it up. We both want to get hired, so that would be best, right? Okay, so back to handling difficult coworkers. There's always that one coworker, right? The one who interrupts you all daggone day long, dumps last minute work on you, or turns like every small chat into a therapy session. Girl, go ahead and get away from my desk and cut it out. Unless you want to be billed for my time. I take PayPal, American Express, Visa, MasterCard. Like, what? Okay. Here's how to set boundaries with coworkers without it being rude. Because we don't want to be rude to anyone. I'm in deep focus mode right now. Can we chat later? I have to stick to my schedule, but let's find another time to connect. I can't take this on, but maybe another resource can help. And if they still don't respect your boundaries, you gotta stand firm. You don't owe anybody unlimited access to your time. Listen, setting boundaries isn't just about saying them, it's about sticking to them. People are going to push back. They might even test you a little bit. But every time you hold your ground, you're teaching people how to treat you. And remember, boundaries are about respect. They're about respecting yourself and teaching other people to do the same. Okay, so I have one more story. Whew. And talk about being tested, honey. I was tested. This happened at least 10 years ago when I was in corporate America. There was a coworker that I was filling in for. I was doing her accounts while she was out for that day. Okay. So apparently I did something incorrect. Um, I didn't handle her account according to her expectations. Well, when she got back the next day, she came over to my desk, told me the what if and I should have, and raised her voice. What you don't do to me is raise your voice. I don't give a hoot and a holler who you are, where you work at, what your name is, what your title is. My daddy taught me everybody get treated the same, no matter who you are. That's the one thing I carried throughout my entire working career. I carry that throughout my life because I don't give a what. You could be Barack Obama, child. I don't care. I don't care. What you're not going to do is talk to me out the side of your face and think you're going to get away with it. Okay. So I let her say all of what she needed to say. I defended myself and very calmly and professionally. I never raised my voice or got out of pocket, so to speak, working at that job. Never. She said what she had to say. I defended myself. I said what I had to say. I was taken aback because she was raising her voice to me. I don't know why she thought she could do that, but that was the one and only time she did that. So, after we had our words, I let that cook for a minute. Within 15 to 20 minutes, I went into her office. She was taken aback because I got up and went into her office. She was she was standing in front of her desk. She kind of moved to the side of her desk when I walked in there. Because she was like, her facial expression was like, what is she doing in my office? I proceeded to explain myself again in a very calm and professional manner. And I said what I said. She moved to the back of her desk. I moved closer to her desk. I wasn't going to do anything. What do you think this is? I know how to act. I was raised right. But it seemed like she didn't think that I was going to speak up for myself, but I did. After that day, she had a lot of respect for me, it seemed, because she never, ever raised her voice to me ever again. Uh, she treated me different. Uh, she didn't treat me like a peon because she was talking to me initially like I was some peon, like I was below her. No, baby, I'm not below you. Just because your title says such and such, that don't mean a hill of beans to me. I can give a good God's darn about who you think you are. And so that was that. We I actually we had a mutual respect for each other after that. She treated me different. I treated her different because she treated me different, and you know, thereafter things changed. Like I said, she never talked to me out the side of her face ever again. And we actually became great co-workers and good acquaintances. So that ended very well because I established and stuck to my boundaries at that point. So, these things, you have to establish boundaries. You have to stick to them no matter what. You may need to adjust how you stick to your boundaries and how you say things. Of course, we're in a professional environment and you adjust accordingly, but you stick to them. If this video helps you, which I really do hope that it did, please consider liking it, sharing it, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. See y'all in the next video.